Hello, Ted Stafford from Signasium. I teach the Music Literacy 101 course, and I thought the descriptions that are up there on the website, well, they're pretty good, but it doesn't really tell you what the class is like from day to day. And I was really lucky when we did the class at the beginning of the summer. One of the classmates, Anne, as a special present to all of us, printed out the materials that I provide electronically, and here it is. This is it. Look at that. It's humongous, and she's got it here. This is week one, starts here, and these are the slides from week one, and then this is week two starting here, and these are the slides, and then here's week three. And I had no idea that it would turn into such a monstrous tome. But let me give you a quick look at each week so that you can see. Don't be intimidated by the size of this book. It was never meant to be printed out. It's just a series of Google Slides where I try to keep it light and fun, yet informative. So I'm going to share my screen with you now and show you what we do. So this is my Google Drive here, and here are the 15 classes. And each day after class, I'll send the class to all of the students as just a Drive link, and that would give you the opportunity to review it and practice the extra practice stuff that I include. So week one is Fascinating Rhythm, and it's all Gershwin music. And this is what the slideshow looks like. It's the real slideshow, and each day we start with our goals and objectives so that we kind of know what's coming. So in week one, we're talking about conducting patterns and how to deal with time signature, because it's all about rhythm and all the different kinds of possibilities within a measure that and it starts simple and it gets more challenging as we go. There's lots of time for explanations, but once we get into the practice, then we're just taking turns reading this. So these are just rhythms to say or clap. More rhythm practice. Now we're getting into practice, and I'm not presenting it so you can see the answers right now, but these are actual Gershwin songs now, and it gets more challenging when you start adding in the pitches, but we're not even worrying about that here. We're just clapping the rhythms and seeing if you can guess the songs. Here's another Gershwin tune. And we have to also talk about, reading's great and all, but it doesn't tell you everything. It doesn't say everything about the music. So week one, this is kind of the template for week one. We do two-part exercises also where you're using two hands to start really making that brain work and doing some drum beats. And then there's a lot of practice. And here now you can adjust the level of difficulty for where you are. If you're somebody that reads rhythms fluently and you just want a refresher on that, but you're ready to start reading pitches, then you can do that here. But if reading rhythms is still just a challenge, then you can just read the rhythms. But these are practice exercises that I've culled from resources that I happen to like and have worked with. Also more two-part exercises. So the whole first week, this is the beginning of it, and then we just keep adding on different time signatures, different kinds of ways of dividing the beat, syncopation and ties, all that kind of stuff, and then reading lots of rhythms from Gershwin tunes and trying to see if we can figure out what they are. And by the end of the week, we're starting to listen to them in solfege, not just listen, but figure them out for ourselves, which gets us into week two. And this is all going to be Rodgers and, well, anybody, but mostly Lawrence Hart and Oscar Hammerstein. So same kind of format. There's a slideshow for each day of the week. Each day we have a different set of goals and objectives. Here we start going through the key signatures. By the end of week two, we've pretty much hit 10 out of the most commonly used key signatures in major keys. And each day in week two, we're focusing on not only a different key, reading in a different key, but also reading certain intervals more than others. And so the songs that I've chosen are highlighting those intervals, and that's designed to help your ear and your eye get their act together. We also start working with transposition, and there's pretty consistent reference to piano. So if you don't know how to read music already, that's what we kind of start with. We start with the basics of how to read pitches on the grand staff. And then we start in the treble clef and the bass clef with some anchor pitches, getting your eye used to where they are on the keyboard and on the staff. Um, and these are some piano ideas. So it's not much per, here we go. So here are our anchor pitches for the treble clef, and we'll start reading the notes. First, just the anchor pitches, which is very, very easy when it's only 3 pitches and 2 of them are C. You got a good chance of getting it right. And then we start making it gradually harder by taking the neighbors to our anchor pitches. And once we've done that, you pretty much got the whole picture minus a couple of pitches. Now we start making it a little trickier, just by using fewer notes that are directly next to the anchor pitches. Then we get right into the good music. There are lots of examples in this section, and we talk about intervals and start working in the sight singing element of that. So it's piano, voice, brain, it's everything. And lots of tunes to practice with, from all different times in Richard Rodgers' career and different time signatures and some composition assignments. And each time there's from weeks 2 and 3, each scale we look at, I also give just sort of as a reference how to, what the fingering is for the 1 octave version of the scale on the piano. So you can start getting your hands on the keyboard and figuring that all out. Great. So then by the time you're done with week 2 and we've read so much music, we're ready to start making our own charts. So we get our Ticket to Write charts with all the music of the Beatles in week 3. And it's the same thing again, except my slideshows got fancier and with lots of objectives and trying to put it all together now. In week 3, we're spelling triads. We're knowing what notes are in each kind of chord and how to spell the chord based on the chord's quality. We're practicing that in solfege just so that we can get it in our ear, and continuing with our key spotlights. And we're starting on the charting process. So taking these Beatles songs and moving them into other keys. And also starting to look at some common chord progressions on the keyboard. These are the kinds of keyboard diagrams you might see. I think in some ways these help in a way that regular music notation doesn't, because it becomes easy to see the relationship, say, between a major chord and a minor chord, and then between a minor chord and a diminished chord, which note's moving to make it smaller if the root stays the same, and in between a major chord and an augmented chord down here at the bottom. So we practice making the chords together, divide and conquer. Everybody in the class gets to pick 1 or 2 of these and work on them, and then we compare notes. Look at them as solfege and sing them. And then it's Beatles songs, and lots of them. And each Beatles song that I picked is chosen to try and show what we were talking about in terms of the harmonies that we're dealing with here. So in this case, we're in the key of G, but this is a great example of here, there, and everywhere. Once the chords start up, we got a great sort of 1, 2, 3, 4 chord progression, which is, kind of unusual, but it really is great for teaching. And as we went through this process, we started to notice lots of commonalities between different Beatles songs in different periods of their career. So really interesting what we did. And we also talked a lot about some of the funnier items of notation in chord charts, like slash chords and why you'd use a slash chord. And we really got into a lot of detail with how to approach some of these things on the piano, especially here, for example. This is from It's Only Love, and between these first 2 chords, the 2 notes on the top stay the same, and then so it's a slash chord, and going to a new root with a nice chromatic bass movement. Anyway, I don't want to give too much away. Kind of going through here, we look through some common chord resolutions so that you can see why things sound so smooth when the chords are played by the way they are. Um, but really, it was just we did always had a new key every day, and then lots and lots of songs. This boy here is Dear Prudence, looking at that, and also this is It's Only Love. So there's just so much to do. There's plenty of extra practice if you've got the time and the strength to do it. And if you don't, on that day, there's always another day. But it's a lot of material, I have to say, but I think it's digestible, and it's meant to, each day builds on the day before. And if you just keep going and then practice a little bit in that night, you can wind up, everybody at the end of the first session, we did 2 charts where we actually wrote them out ourselves with key changes and having transposed it from another key, and they did a fantastic job with it, and I know that you can too. So that's the big overview. And I'm really excited about the course. I'm looking forward to revising it, and I've started already revising it a little bit for this next section to just try and make it even clearer. And the last point I'd like to make is there were lots of times during this course where I was able to get direct feedback from the participants in terms of what was helpful and where they needed more practice or explanation. And so that's something that I would anticipate happening again. Every group of people is different, and everybody has different priorities. So we want to try and get you closer to your goals, and the through line for the entire course is basically how you get from the start of your creative process with the song or a show through, so that you're spending less time practicing to learn the songs and more time practicing your performance. So in other words, making it so that you're able to go more quickly from the page to getting ready for the stage. And that, I think that makes all the difference, maximizing your practice time, getting your material so that you know it before you're even, starting the rehearsal process. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. I hope you're excited about what we're doing. I know that I am, and I look forward to seeing you in class.